Hello, dear friends. Today, our first guest in our series of interviews is a professor of social work at Columbia University, Cortney Cogborn. Professor Cogborn is a graduate of University of Michigan. She did her master's degree and her PhD at that university. She actually has numerous awards and fellowships from various organizations. She has lots of grants that she has been receiving, and also Professor Cogborn's major focus is racism and health disparities. And she is our first guest in the series of programs that when we are trying to raise an awareness about social work profession in Kazakhstan. And our two questions, Professor Cogborn, are very, very easy. We just want to know why people choose to become social workers, and what do you think social workers contribute to the society?
Good question. I think people come to social work for many different reasons, and I think that's one of the wonderful things about the discipline and practice of social work, that there are so many ways to be involved with social work. I think people who come to social work tend to share, though, a commitment to social justice, a commitment to positive social change. They're interested in doing and not just thinking about and talking about issues. They're interested in how they can how they can play a role in having meaningful change in people's lives. So I think social workers generally share that belief. So we sort of have that common ground. From there's so many different ways you can have that type of impact in people's lives. So I think when people traditionally think about social work, they think about people who are working in various community organizations and clinics and providing therapeutic care, or helping people get housing, or helping people who have been incarcerated who are trying to reintegrate into their community. So I think they think about sort of this direct practice, hands-on work, which is absolutely a central and important part of what social workers do. A lot of social workers also, however, are involved in policy work. So they're involved in legislation at the local and national, federal levels. They're engaged in making policies, contributing to structural changes in people's lives that help benefit social change in that way. The work that I engage in is really from a research perspective. So what types of questions can we ask? How can we study and understand social issues and the complexity of those issues in a way that help inform what we do, right? So not just doing, but we need to have a basis for what we do. So I think people who are engaged in the research component are thinking about what are the best ways to go about, how do we understand and characterize the problem, a particular problem? How is what we're doing working or not working? And then what might we do differently on the basis of what we understand? And so research kind of takes on that component of social work. So given that, there's so many different ways that people can kind of integrate themselves into the world of social work.
Oh, wow. That is a thorough answer, Professor Cogborn. You're absolutely right. People do take social work from only one direction, mostly as a direct practice, but there are so many other, issues that social workers can cover, and obviously we all come with the same goal, is to, apply our work into the social justice.
Yeah.
So,
and I think because of that, that's why social work becomes such a interdisciplinary field, right? So you have psychologists and economists and historians and people from all different types of backgrounds who again have this shared interest in positive social change in people's lives, social justice. But that creates a broad space for people with all sorts of different types of training to come together to think about these complex social issues. And really, social work is the kind of space that says you really need all of those experts from across those areas coming to the same table, thinking about the same issues in order to effectively address those issues. That our problems, our social issues, are so complex that you can't only think about it from a psychological perspective. You can't only think about it from an economic perspective. You really have to kind of blend those together to think about how to effectively address these complex social issues.
Oh, wow. Well, I have to mention that Professor Cogborn was one of the first professors, that taught my course at this university, and I was you can see I was very, very lucky to have her. Thank you very much, Professor.
Thank you.